What's it like to fly from Peru to the United States with Delta Airlines? Join us to experience Delta One, their international business class.
Hello, jet setters. I'm Jeb Brooks from greenergrass.com. Right now, we're in Lima, Peru. It's time to head back to the States. We're flying with Delta in Delta One. Join us on this 767-400.
Today's trip will take about 6.5 hours to make the journey of more than 3,000 miles. We'll climb as high as 36,000 feet. Lima's airport was bustling when we arrived. Airport workers checked each passenger for a same-day boarding pass and vaccine cards. Masks are still required indoors and on public transportation when we traveled in April 2022. As always, check with local authorities for the most up-to-date requirements. Despite the crowds, we were through the check-in process in short order.
Checked in and ready to go.
And after a necessary but quick walk through the duty-free shop, we were headed toward our gate. We were fortunate to be on board this special 767-400 with a livery dedicated to breast cancer awareness. I'm not sure about you, but I wish Delta embraced more special liveries like this one. I did recently get to see the Team USA A330 they operate in honor of the US Olympic team, and that was cool. From there, we were off to the contract lounge available to Delta One passengers. It was a dark space with plenty of seating. The buffet had a large number of hot options. I went for this mixture of potatoes and, maybe hot dogs? And the closest thing to a view that this lounge offered were the departure boards. And seeing that departure board meant it was time for us to go.
What are you most looking forward to being home?
Definitely our next trip. What about you?
I could use a McDonald's, I'm not gonna lie.
She does love a McDonald's. All right, we'll try to get you one in Atlanta.
Soon we arrived back at the gate.
Yeah, this got me thinking, would you rather fly the wide body back up to the US or the narrow body that American has?
And it was time to board. I could not wait to get settled into the new Delta One seat on board. First of all, Delta's refurbished suites like this one are, at least to my eyes, beautiful. I just really like the colors and the look. And while some passengers have criticized them for being too narrow, I don't share that concern. It's quite comfortable during the day. You see, the footwell is extremely narrow and could make for some challenging sleep. However, again, thankfully, this was a daytime flight. We didn't have much of a view, but that mattered far less when we were presented with our pre-departure beverages, sparkling wine for me, and a tangy glass of synthetic orange juice for Suzanne. The seat has just about everything you'd want on a trip like this. It's infinitely adjustable. There's a universal plug, USB charger, and headphone jack. Headphones are provided. You can adjust the seat here if you're in bed mode. There's a reading light, and there are air vents up top. Looks like we'll have to take a look at Delta's newest amenity kit when we're in the air. The jet bridge is pulling back.
I have some not great news for any of us. Unfortunately, right now, because of the winds and the weight of the airplane, we need to take off to the north. They're still using the runway for the south. They have given us an estimated pushback time of about 36 minutes from now.
That lighter weight, narrow body American Airlines plane looking a little more appealing now, wasn't it? At least the IFE was working while we were on the ground, and there were plenty of choices. And the moving map feature was useful. It even let me preview the entire trip from right here at the gate. Those 36 minutes flew by. Pun absolutely intended. Lima's airport is filled with all kinds of fascinating airplanes, many of them historic. Some, though, have seen better days. At 10,000 feet, I pulled out the tray table. Delta's been leaning heavily into sustainability, and this amenity kit is an example of that effort. Made by artists in Mexico, they're sturdy bags with a life well beyond the flight and are filled with useful components for a trip like this. We even got slippers. A menu was provided on the seat, but we were able to pre-order our meals online. I chose the special egg and huachana sausage breakfast sandwich. It did take a little while for the flight attendants to set up for breakfast, so I checked out the Wi-Fi. It was reasonably fast and useful for catching up on emails, a seemingly never-ending task. I was also able to check out a description of the Delta One amenities for this particular flight using the Delta website. I like this. It's nice to kind of get a sense of how the service will flow. Speaking of the service flowing, it began with drinks and an appetizer, fried causa and joaquina sauce. It was really tasty. The sandwich I'd pre-ordered was also really flavorful. Sometimes sandwiches like this, particularly on an airplane, can be mostly bread. Maybe I'm just thinking of American Airlines right there. Anyway, obviously that's not the case here. This was really good, filled with flavor, very reminiscent of Delta's pre-pandemic catering. Suzanne had the corn-filled omelet, which she said was really good too. We made our way over Ecuador and enjoyed great views of the rainforest. It was about then that I discovered a secret hidden remote control and mirror in the console beside my seat. Suzanne was tired on the other hand, so she placed the seat in bed mode. She said it was comfortable, but agreed with the criticisms about that narrow footwell. About 3.5 hours after departing Lima, we crossed over Panama, and I decided to explore the cabin a little. These refurbished Delta 767-400s offer 4 different cabins: Economy, Comfort Plus, Premium Select, and Delta One. Economy and Comfort Plus are arranged in a 2-3-2 configuration, while Premium Select offers 2-2-2 seating. And of course, Delta One is arranged in a 1-2-1 setup. The middle seats are better for most couples here, but Suzanne and I both like the windows, even though she was still asleep. I was distracted by the stunning turquoise blue of the Caribbean Sea. And as we passed over Fort Myers in Florida, it was time for a final snack. The sliced chicken salad was a nice lighter alternative to the chicken sandwich on offer, which I decided to pass on. One sandwich was enough for me in one flight. And that brings us to the main event, the place where it all comes together. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's what you've all been waiting for, the JebScore. This unscientific tool allows us to rate a flight based on 5 factors. We'll look at the lounge, the seat, the food, the in-flight entertainment, and the service. First, the lounge. Well, it was pretty average as far as contract lounges go. Despite Delta's close alignment with LATAM, we didn't have access to one of their fantastic lounges. Instead, the Sumaq Lounge earns 3 stars. The seat is fantastic. I love Delta's refurbished seats. They're beautiful and functional during the day in particular. That said, the narrow footwell could present a problem for sleep, especially if you're like me and prefer sleeping on your side. The seat earns 4 stars. The food was delicious. I love that Delta represented local flavors in their menu and that the food was fresh and really flavorful. 5 stars here. The in-flight entertainment was solid. I was particularly thankful that it worked on the ground during our delay there. That was invaluable. And the internet was fast and reliable. 5 stars here. Finally, the service was slow to start, but once they got going, they got going. This crew was up in the aisles, walking around, greeting everyone, and they really seemed to be having genuine fun on board. 5 stars here. So that leaves Delta's 767-400 service on this one flight we took on this particular day. Side note, that's why this is unscientific, with 22 out of a possible 25 stars.
Between now and the next time, see you in the sky.